Sripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye. Chapter-20. The account of Vissavadhani. Description of the divine auspicious form of Sripada. Description of the divine auspicious form of Sripada. In the early morning, I reached Kurungadda to have the darshan of Sripada. Divine rays of illumination were emanating from him. Peace, compassion, love, and knowledge were issuing forth as brilliant light from the divine eyes of Sripada. Those who were in his presence were receiving peace, compassion, love, and wisdom even without asking for it. When the Lord of all the universes, who is formless, assumed a form and appeared in human form before my very eyes, ineffable joy and astonishment flooded my entire nature. Sripada kindly beckoned me to approach him and give salutations to him. When he beckoned me, inexplicable waves of peace and love rose from his divine hands, and I experienced as though they transported my mind, heart, and body to some other unknown worlds. With devotion, I touched his auspicious feet. My body felt lighter. I noticed that a dark aura emanated from my eyes. After some time, black luster came out from all the organs in my body. This black luster assumed an ugly human form. This form resembled me exactly. Sripada smilingly asked me, "Have you noticed who that black form is, which very much looks like you?" I replied, "Swami, I notice that the form resembles me, but I do not know why it came out of my body. I also do not know who that form is." Then Sripada said, "My dear, that black shape is your sinful body. He is your sinful personality. Whatever remained in your body now is the pure personality. In every human body, a sinful personality and also a pure personality exist. Liberation is the release from both sin and merit. One who takes birth as a Brahmin must be righteous and must burn down his sinful body. Not only that, with the strength of his merit, he must uplift others. A Brahmin should mainly possess the attribute of sattva, purity, peace, and harmony. He should carry out rituals for the benefits of others as prescribed by the Vedas and the scriptures, and should collect from them only that much money which is necessary for his living. By receiving that money, he automatically also takes on their sins. He should burn those sins in the fire of his intense penance. Only such a Brahmin who lives like that is worthy of the word Brahmin. If this is not the case, then he is a Brahmin only on account of his caste. He cannot become a Brahmin endowed with Brahmagnana. People like my maternal grandfather, Sri Papanarya, and my father, Appalaraja Sharma, can be called noble Brahmins. My maternal grandmother, Rajamamba, and my mother, Sumati Maharani, are very pious. By merely remembering such people, thousands of sins in the bodies of the living creatures will disappear immediately. Speaking these words, Sripada became silent for a while. He touched the center between his eyebrows and stretched his right hand. A brilliant illumination rose from the palm of his hand. Sacred materials required for the fire ritual materialized at once. Gold, silver, Some sweet fruits and flowers originated afterwards. Then the holy fire arose. The sinful person who came out of my body cried with great fright. With his eye movement, Sripada commanded the sinful person to fall into the divine fire and get reduced into ashes. The person fell into the fire rather unwillingly. Flames spread all over my body. I cried, Swami, I am being burnt. Save me, save me. A wave of light from the divine eyes of Sripada touched me. My body became cool. The fire of the fire ritual burned the sinner. A variety of electric currents arose in my body. I was aware of the awakening of my Kundalini. My pulse stopped. My heartbeat halted. I slipped into a state of trance. It was afternoon. It was Thursday. Sripada took a bath and afterwards he was surrounded by the devotees. Sripada touched with his hand the food offered by the devotees as bhiksha. He sprinkled the water from his kamandalu on the devotees. Some food was placed along the 8 directions as a sacrificial offering. With the musical voice of millions of cuckoos, he called me by name. He ordered all the people present there to take food. He instructed me to come nearer to him. He closed his eyes for a second. Later, he opened his eyes again and cast his looks on me. A silver vessel appeared in his hand. It was filled with a North Indian dish called halwa. Sripada liked this halwa dish. Sripada said, Shankara Bhatt, my devotees tie me with their bonds of devotion. I am only bound by pure care and devotion. In the house of Sri Sresti, his wife Venkata Subbamamba prepared this sweet for me and took a vow that she would take food only after I eat this sweet. Their granddaughter Lakshmi Vasavi tied Raksha Bandhan to my hand. She said that the astrologers predicted that death was indicated in the horoscope of her husband. She observed a diksha, spiritual discipline, with a goal that her husband should live long. She insisted that if it was true that she tied Raksha Bandha to me, I should take the prasad and bless her as a Sumangali. There was no other choice for me. I blessed Chiranjeevi Lakshmi Vasavi as Lakshmi Saubhagyavati and granted her flowers, bangles, and kumkuma. I brought along the halwa prepared with love by Venkata Subbamamba, whom I regard as my maternal grandmother. This prasad will destroy great sins earned over many births. I will personally receive the prasad offered in the houses of my devotees through subtle rays. However, as this was cooked in the house of Sri Sresti, it is Mahaprasad and therefore I physically received it in person. You also take this prasad. I took the prasad. Who can describe the sweetness of that prasad? He threw some portion of the prasad into the sky. It went somewhere in the sky. He let some prasad slip from his palm. Then the earth there broke and gave way to the prasad. After the prasad went into the earth, the broken earth came back to the normal state. The devotees who were present there also desired to have that prasad. The incarnation of Sripada will never disappoint anyone. Though the prasad was distributed to many, it was inexhaustible. In the meantime, a devotee with the name of Guru Charan, born in the Padmashali caste, artisans came there. Sripada gave the prasad to him also. Then he threw that silver vessel into the Krishna river. Sripada observed, Padmashalis belong to the lineage of Markandeya. For some reason, they became non-vegetarians. No action takes place without a reason in my presence. Guru Charana, you have been offering me Naivedya, food offered to God before eating from many days. You are leading a pious life, seeking refuge at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Today you could receive the Mahaprasad from the hands of Sri Guru. Explain to Shankara Bhatt about Guru Tattva, essence of the Guru, as far as you know. In the afternoon, I will be in Yoga Nidra, yogic sleep, and do Manasa Sancharam, travel within the subtle plane of the mind. No one should visit me during this time. My rest should not be disturbed. It was indeed the will of Sri Guru that I should meet a great devotee named Sri Guru Charan. Sri Guru Charan made good progress in the path of yoga. I requested him to explain the nature of Sri Pada and make me gratified. Then Guru Charan began to expatiate. The formless, attributeless phenomenon whose great resolve resulted in the creation, sustenance, and liquidation of countless millions of universes incarnated in the ancient yugas as Sri Dattatreya, taking to a form and taking on attributes. That phenomenon has incarnated in this yuga at present in the form of Sripada Srivallabha. This incarnation is formless but appears in a human form, attributeless but appears as the one with attributes, a comprehensive form of all deities but looks like a single deity. He is the ultimate destination for all paths of yoga, all forms of deities who appear to the sages through their individual practices and penances from the beginning of the creation are really the divine manifestations of Sripada. In ancient times, sages had many divine powers. Vasistha used to perform rituals with Havya, offerings for a sacrificial fire. Vishwamitra and Jamadagni used to follow the procedure of performing rituals without Havya. Only the one who knows the secret of the mantras and the secret of that ritual is capable of doing the ritual, or doing it in a different way. Sripada is omnipotent. Since he knows the secret of karma, differences will be seen in his treatment of different individuals. The power of love is superior to all other powers. Its strength is infinite. Bapanarya or Narasimha Varma or Venkatappaya Sresti are endowed with peculiar yogic wealth. All the three had abundant and affectionate devotion towards Sripada. With the power of their love, they can compel Sripada to fructify any particular work. Sripada also has to yield to their wishes. Sripada has a natural trait of seeing his mother in every woman. If anyone with a natural affection treats Sripada as a divine child and worships him, Sripada will behave like a small child in their houses. This is the Mahamaya. It is a matter that defines logic that the attributeless and formless Parabrahman, who is repeatedly extolled as such by the yogis and wise men, should display his leelas as a divine child in Pitikapuram. For those who practice with the idea that God can only be obtained through the study of the Vedas and scriptures, through the paths of yoga and jnana, God can be experienced by them only through those paths. The experience of God is systematized through the scriptures. However, the experience of God can also be had through a route beyond the path of the scriptures. God is fully independent in all respects. The Leelas of Sripada are not amenable for logic. They are unheard of before. Then I requested Sri Gurucharan, Sir, how did you first get the darshan of Sripada? Kindly give an account of it and make me blessed. On that, Gurucharan said, Oh, pious Brahmin, you are very fortunate. On account of the merits earned in my previous births, I had the fortune of narrating to you the divine pastimes of Sripada in his very presence. You have the grace and compassion of Sri Guru. Having said that, he briefly explained the way in which he had the first darshan of Sripada. I was born in a family of devotees. Lord Datta is our family deity, and I was worshipping him from my childhood. There were lots of financial worries in my family. However much I prayed Lord Datta, my troubles did not diminish. On the other hand, they got worse. Some elders advised me that I did not have the grace of Lord Datta and that I should select another deity as the family deity and worship that deity, upon which my difficulties might be resolved. I also was contemplating as to which deity should be selected as my family deity so that my troubles would cease. With that thought, I slipped into sleep one day. In a dream, I saw a dreadful butcher. He was tending a herd of sheep with great love. Every day he was slaughtering some sheep with his butcher's knife. The knife in his hand evoked great fear in me. With a profound sound of rumbling clouds, he thundered, I am Datta. Whatever gods or goddesses you worship, all those belong to me only. When you simply change the names and shapes of the deity you worship, I will not change. More than that, I will not leave you. You are my shadow. How can my shadow leave me and exist separately? I am the great resolve that administers the will of all deities and humans. I am the Brahman form which all incarnations of God emanate. An animal caught in the mouth of a tiger may escape, but you, who were caught in my hand, cannot escape. Devotees of Datta should be like lion cubs and not like cowards. I am like an lion. Lion cubs will not have any fear of the lion. They will amuse their mother with their sports and capers. It is certain that I will kill you with this knife. There is no one in all the three worlds who can save you. I was crying madly with terrible fright. By this time, my dream shattered. Inmates of my house asked me about the matter. I told them about my dream. I wailed that I was undergoing penury as a result of some past deeds in some birth. Our financial difficulties got worse. I felt that it would be better if I died. The next morning, a Haridas, singer of the glory of God, appeared before my house. There were wooden cymbals in his hands. He was singing the name of Hari. He kept a vessel for storing rice on his head. He was a strange Haridas. He kept a small piece of an Audumbara tree in the vessel. It is considered as a bad omen if rice is not offered to a Haridas standing in front of the house. Therefore, I searched in the house for rice and offered the Haridas a fistful of broken rice found in my house after much search. The Haridas received the fistful of broken rice and said, Sir, last night a butcher murdered one Gurucharan, a devotee of Datta. However, the wonder is that the life force of that man left his body and settled in this Audumbara plant. It is a standard saying that Sri Dattatreya resides at the foot of the Audumbara tree. This plant is not an ordinary one. There is a great Kshetra named Sri Pitikapuram in the Godavari region. It is said that the self-existent Datta moves in the town in the guise of Sripada Srivallabha. This plant belongs to the offspring of the Audumbara tree in the house of the maternal grandfather of Sripada Srivallabha. Plant this in your house and derive all auspicious things. On hearing this, my head reeled. I told the Haridas, Sir, I am that Guru Charan. I was not murdered. I am a Datta devotee. I saw a butcher in my dream. He warned me that he would kill me with his knife. I heard that when a person dies and his body is not available, sticks of an Audumbara tree are arranged like a corpse and funeral rites are performed considering the sticks to be the corpse of the dead person. But it is unheard of and unseen at any place that the life forces of a person are attracted into an Audumbara tree and at the same time the life forces are retained in the person. The greatness of the Audumbara tree. Then the Haridas loudly laughed and said, It is true what you say. I don't deny it. The entire mystery of the creation is known only to the Adi Guru Lord Dattatreya. Even the Saptarishi cannot understand what he proposes to do in the next moment. Such being the case, what are you? What am I? You are thinking that the bodily death of a man is the only death? When the period of death approaches, a Sadguru may subject his disciple to terrible mental agony, horrible dishonors, unbearable troubles and losses, and erase accumulated karma and grant him rebirth. An incarnation may subject his devotee to slight trouble and grant him rebirth. However, Sri Dattatreya attracts the life force of his devotees to the Audumbara tree where he always lives and rescues the body of the devotee with the life force released from the Audumbara tree. The ignorant devotee thinks that he is alive because of the life force in his body. But the fact is that the life force emanating from the Audumbara tree is uninterruptedly conducting the bodily functions of the devotee. The moment the period of death elapses, the life force issuing forth from the Audumbara tree firmly establishes itself in the devotee, and the devotee will live for some more time. The Audumbara tree will remain perfect, however much life force may be released from it. The reason for that is that Sri Dattatreya remains well established at the base of every Audumbara tree in a subtle form. All that the Haridas told was strange to me. The Haridas, whose name was Krishna Das, went his own way. I planted the Audumbara plant in the backyard of our house and with great love and devotion started taking care of the growth of the Audumbara plant. A distant relative of mine was trading silk clothes. He became old and he had no children. He had motiveless love for me. He began to stay in our house. He gave some money to me and advised me to carry on the business of silk clothes. He was also circumambulating the Audumbara tree in our house and worshipping Lord Datta with great devotion. Whenever any difficulties arose in our house, we used to solemnly go round the Audumbara tree and present our troubles to that great tree. Our suffering was reaching Lord Datta. Our troubles were getting solved in unanticipated ways. The Audumbara tree was acting like a bridge of friendship between us and Sri Dattatreya. Sir, worship of the Audumbara tree is a very important duty of Datta devotees. If an Audumbara tree is in the house, it is as though Sri Dattatreya is verily in that house. However, much the efficacy of the Audumbara tree is described, it amounts to an understatement only. Birth as a thorny tree as a result of the sinful acts. While going to the state Orissa for the purpose of business, I fortunately reached Pitikapuram and found the house of Sri Bapanarya. At that time, Sripada was in the backyard along with Sri Bapanarya. There was a thorny tree in their backyard. Sripada was carefully watering the tree. Bapanarya said to Sripada, "My dear, is it proper to take so much care of that thorny tree which is dear to you as if it is the Somalata or Sanjeevani plant? It will grow whether you care for it or not." Then Sripada remarked, "Grandfather, this thorny tree is Vissavadhani, who in his previous birth was in our street and ridiculed as saying, 'Oh, the self-manifested Datta is born as the grandson of Bapanavadhani. What a freak it is! What a great offense against God! When my mother, my brothers and sisters and I dined in the houses of Venkatappaya Sresti and Narasimha Varma. This Vissavadhani kicked up a controversy in the council of Brahmins that the Malladi and Gandikota families were depraved and violated the Dharma, and that the two families should be ostracized from the Brahmin community. This thorny tree is none other than that Vissavadhani. Is Sripada Dattatreya? What is the proof for it? Is it in the scriptures? Is it in the Vedas? Vissavadhani, who advanced such mean arguments, is this thorny tree now? Venkatappaya Sresti and Narasimha Varma regarded my divine mother Sarvamangala Swarupini Sumati Maharani as the daughter of their household and offered her meals and respected her by giving new clothes to her. By such reverential treatment to my mother, They used to feel that their lives were blessed. Vissavadhani was abusing those two people every day. This thorny tree is that Vissavadhani. Due to the omission of obsequies after his death and on account of his heavy load of sins, Vissavadhani is now born as a thorny tree, quite appropriate to his nature. On seeing the old Vissavadhani as a thorny tree, I took pity on him and I am giving water to this tree. Sripada thus concluded. After a short while, they came into the street from the backyard. On seeing the bewitching, charming Sripada, I broke into hiccoughs with overwhelming delight. Tears of joy flowed like floods from my eyes. I fell at the divine lotus feet of Sripada. With love, Sripada touched me on the back and said, "My dear, get up. What are these mad acts? You died, got back to life, and came to me? Knowing that I do business in silk clothes, Sri Bapanarya asked me, "Do you have any silk dresses suitable for our golden lad?" I gave a silk dress suitable for Sripada. Sripada took me inside Sri Bapanarya's house and told me, "Guru Charana, I will show you a miracle." Sri Bapanarya also followed Sripada. Sripada took us to the thorny tree and questioned, "Grand old Vissavadhani, you got this sort of despicable birth because your children performed obsequies without care and because you have abused great people like Vapanarya for no reason? This Gurucharan was your son in your previous birth. I will make him perform your obsequial ceremony. Do you agree?" We were nonplussed. That Vissavadhani, who as a ghostly spirit entered the thorny tree, replied clearly that there was no greater fortune than that. Sripada made me uproot the thorny tree completely. He instructed me to generate fire with the two Audumbara twigs in his hand. I took them from him and generated fire by friction of those two small sticks. I burned the thorny tree. Sripada directed me to take a bath. After I finished the bath, Sripada gave me vibhuti, holy ash, and asked me to apply it on my body and said, "People think that Shiva rubs the ash from the burial ground on his body. Shiva applies the ash obtained from the funeral of great persons, siddhas, mahayogis, and great devotees after they die on his body. They remain united in the circle of the aura surrounding his body. When animals such as a monkey, a snake, or a cow die due to our inadvertence, we must perform obsequial rites to them. It is enough if we conduct their funeral and give food to the hungry. There is no need to conduct any ritual with mantras. Those creatures who had some bond of indebtedness to us in some birth die like that in our hands inadvertently. By burning their dead bodies with care, our residual karma will be destroyed. They will attain a noble position. In an ancient age, at one time, the world was facing difficulties with famine and scarcity. Unless there was an increase in the stock of cows, sacred materials like cow ghee could not be produced. In the absence of yajna and other sacrifices, mutual cooperation arranged by the Master of Universe between humans and celestials would go to waste. Dharma would get weakened. Humans could not live unless there was sufficiency of food. Therefore, by the strength of his penance, sage Gautama grew crops in his hermitage. He manifested the Godavari river to redeem his sin, which was accrued on account of killing a phantom cow. Therefore, the world is very much indebted to sage Gautama. Ahalya, the wife of sage Gautama, was a great pativrata, virtuous wife. This Vissavadhani was born in the lineage of sage Gautama. The only connection between sage Gautama and Vissavadhani is that the latter's birth was in that lineage. Even though this is a very small bond of indebtedness, this event happened for the following reasons. In Treta Yuga, sage Gautama also participated in the Savitra Kataka Chayana Yagna that was conducted in this Pitikapuram. Vissavadhani was luckily born in Pitikapuram, and not only that, he had my darshan, which is very difficult to get. The time has come when it should be known to the world that this Datta can grant nobler states with causeless compassion even to an unworthy person. Unless there is a bond of indebtedness with you, even a dog will not approach you. So, if anyone approaches you for help, help him if you can. If it is not possible, explain to him about your inability in polite words. But don't display unkind temperament. If you show merciless treatment, I, who is the indweller of all beings, will also be merciless towards you. It is a fact that I alone am the root cause for all this. That fact is as much true as you. This world and the entire creation are true. I am the supreme truth, which is the truth of all truths. In the Vedas also, it is said that truth, knowledge, and infinity are the supreme Brahman. Sripada elucidated these details in the above manner. I was looking with astonishment. Tears of joy were trickling down on the cheeks of Bapanarya. Sripada wiped the tears from the cheeks of his grandfather with his tiny hands and said, Grandfather, in recent times you have been continuously contemplating about me. Your birth is fulfilled. I will take the incarnation of Narsimha Saraswati exactly in your form. This is true. Saying so, he placed his hand in the hand of Bapanarya. Then Bapanarya expressed a doubt. Sripada, since many days I have a doubt in my mind. Shall I ask it? Immediately Sripada, with smiles, said, Grandfather, can there be a doubt for a person of your stature? Can a lad of 10 years clear it? What a wonder! Even then, I will try. Ask. Sri Bapanarya asked, Are creation, sustenance, and liquidation done by Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara respectively? Sripada responded, Yes. Sri Bapanarya asked, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati are their respective forms of Shakti, is it not? Sripada responded, Yes. Sri Bapanarya asked, Adiparashakti has created the Trinity and their Shakti forms, is it not? Sripada responded, Yes. Then Sri Bapanarya questioned Sripada, Then who are you? Sripada is a personification of all deities. He is the origin of everything. When a volley of these questions came out of the mouth of his grandfather, Sripada smiled charmingly and said, "Grandfather, I granted a noble position to a thorny tree before your eyes just now. It is needless to discuss whether there is any scriptural sanction or standard for my actions. I exist in all yogic states. A person who is a yogi in those respective states will definitely meet me. Creation is not Maya. To think of all this as creation is indeed Maya. The whole creation is pervaded by a simple divine consciousness. However, it is subjected to evolution in a variety of positions and states. This is the basis for the evolutionary process. Because there is knowledge about time, the process of evolution is experienced. This concept of time is conceived on account of the sun, moon, and earth. Sage Atri had the experience of the three times: past, present, and future, and three states: wakefulness, sleep, and dreaming at the same time. Mother Anasuya was the great devoted wife who had the experience of the nature of non jealousy in the creation. I have the experience of all aspects of creation, sustenance, and destruction, gross, subtle, and mortal bodies, past, future, and present at the same time. Therefore, I am eternally present. Everything that happened, that is happening, and that will happen is experienced at the same time by me. In such a state, it is no wonder that the Trinity and the three Shaktis are in me. It is a fact that the Trinity and the three goddesses of power were in Adipara Shakti prior to creation. There is no difference between me and the Adipara Shakti, but there is a finer point here. Since there was a great resolve that the entire creation should come out of the womb of the mother, the form of Adi Parashakti emerged. That was the form of Brahmayoni. Only from that the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, as well as Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati came out. However, how did the will to create, or how did the will to plan the process of creation in a particular fashion take place? I am that propelling force or the embodiment of that grand resolve. The advent of Adi Parashakti, the Trinity, and the three Shaktis happened only according to that grand resolve. The form of that Mahasankalpa, great resolve, is the personification of the Param Guru, first original Guru. This is a very secret matter. Whenever the highest resolve wills, it immediately occurs. To will and to fulfill take place at the same time. I am the very primordial power that can inhibit all powers. Relationships between mother and child, father and son, husband and wife, brother and sister are unavoidable. The forms of gods and goddesses emerge to demonstrate the above sacred relationships as ideal ones. Jiva is Shakti existing in Maya. I am the supreme Shakti transcending Maya. Only by yogic Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Mahashakti can meet. While worshipping Adi Parashakti or the original Datta, The Trinity and the three Shaktis are included in that. Only those who are rich in spiritual endeavors can understand these divine relationships, their natures, and the experiences of the relevant states of spiritual progress. All the sins of those who adore Sripada are removed. It is useless to teach Sanskrit grammar to a beast. If an animal wants to learn Sanskrit grammar, it should be liberated from that lower birth. It should be born as a human being and learn it from a competent person. Since I have an internal connection with every creature, I receive the tendencies, propensities, and impurities from them. Daily, through a holy bath and japa, I burn those impurities and help towards the development of the living beings. In fact, there is no necessity for me to worship. I attract into me many evil influences of those who adore me and conduct a brief worship of our family deity Kalagni Shamanadatta. I dedicate the great result derived from that worship to my devotees. It is not possible to give any result without doing karma. Therefore, I perform penance and other great pious rites with this body. Since I am the infinite consciousness, I get instantaneous results for the rites performed. So I transmit those results to my devotees according to their eligibility. That is why mine is the form of Adi Guru. Just as a child is entitled to the properties of his parents, the disciples of a preceptor become heirs to the powers of penance of their guru. In Bhagavad Gita also it was mentioned that performance of action is inescapable. There is no end to my incarnation. I, Sri Datta, am easily accessible. Other deities grant boons after being satisfied with the penance performed by the devotees. However, Datta, an embodiment of the Guru form phenomenon, is a compassionate one who, by his strength of all penance, removes all evil forces and forces of misfortune that stand in the way of his devotees obtaining boons. Grandfather, that is the reason for calling me Smruti Matra Prasanna, one who is pleased by mere remembrance. I am the one who is in the form of all gurus. As this incarnation took place out of great compassion, as Param Guru, there is no end to this incarnation. As soon as I receive the call of the devotee, I will respond at once. I am waiting for the call from my devotee. If a devotee moves one step towards me, I will take 100 steps towards him. My natural trait is to protect my devotees like an eyelid protects the eyes, and to guard them against all accidents and troubles. Sripada thus imparted these divine preachings through Sri Bapanarya. Then I requested that great preceptor, great Lord, I heard something about Somalata, Soma plant, and Soma Yaga. Kindly tell me the details about them. Then Sripada said that Somalata is also called Sanjeevani herb and asked me whether I wanted to see it. When I said yes, the Sanjeevani herb appeared in his hand. He presented it to me. Even today, that is securely in my puja mandir as his divine prasad. Sripada continued, these Sanjeevani herbs are available in the Himalayan mountain ranges, at Manasa Sarovar in Kashmir, at the birthplace of the Sindh River, at Sri Salem mountain, the eternal abode of Lord Mallikarjuna at Sahyadri, at Mahendra Devagiri, at the Vindhya mountain range, and at the Badri forest areas, Badrinath forest. Lakshmana recovered from coma only through the efficacy of this herb. By rubbing it on his body, one can achieve the faculty of air travel. It greatly helps in toning up muscles, enhancing the luster of the eyes and the hearing faculty. Freedom comes from many diseases by using it. From its efficiency, any sort of fear or suffering from fire, water, or poison will not afflict one. It also gives 8 siddhis like anima, etc. This Sanjeevani plant will start sprouting 1 leaf per day, beginning from the first day of Shukla Paksha. On the full moon day, it will have 15 leaves. Again, from the commencement of the next fortnight, Krishna Paksha, every day 1 leaf falls off, and on the new moon day, the plant dries up with all the leaves having fallen off. When this small dried stick is wetted with water and kept in a room during the night, it will emit light. Wild animals stand guard to this Sanjeevani herb in the Sahyadri mountain range, and in the Bhima Shankara mountains. It can be recognized during the midnight of the new moon day when it shines in heavenly illumination. My dear Guru Charana, like this, there are about 24 varieties of divine herbal plants. All of them are very sacred. Divine forces reside in these plants. Therefore, these herbs are to be collected with utmost humility while chanting Vedic mantras. The names of these herbal plants are Soma, Mahasoma, Chandrama, Anshuman, Manjuvan, Rajataprabhu, Durva, Kaniyan, Shwetan, Kanakaprabha, Pratanavan, Lalvrutta, Kharadhira, Ansavan, Swayamprabha, Rudraksha, Gayatri, Eshtam, Pavata, Jagat, Sakar, Anishtam, Rekta, Tripada Gayatri. I took leave from Sripada and left Pitikapuram. After Guru Charan finished narrating this to me, permission for the darshan of Sri Mahaguru was given, and we were informed that the yogic mental travel of Sri Mahaguru was completed. We had his darshan. We received fruits and prasad from the divine hands of Sri Pada. Then Sripada said, both of you cross the Krishna river and go to the other side. Go to the Manchala village. The village goddess of Manchala will bless you. After obtaining the blessing of that mother, return to Kurungadda. Note that I will be always observing you wherever you are and at whatever distance you are. In the future, Manchala village will become famous worldwide. It becomes famous on account of the life samadhi of a great person. The leelas of that great person will be wonderful. There is a Pitikapuram in the subtle view, just as there is a Pitikapuram in the gross view. That subtle view is the golden Pitikapuram that is well established in the circle of the aura enveloping my physical body. Anyone who obtains my grace, irrespective of the epoch, country, or time to which they belong, will have their consciousness well established in that golden Pitikapuram. This can be understood by all those who have a yogic vision. Those who earn a place for their life consciousness in Golden Pitikapuram are really fortunate. I will follow them in each and every birth and will save them. My dear Shankara Bhatt, after many hundreds of years, a great samsthan in my name will be formed. My padukas will be established under the shade of the Audumbara tree at my birthplace in the house of my maternal grandfather. The idols of mine, the preceding incarnation, and the next incarnation will also be established. I am imparting you with supernatural sight. Look, saying so, he touched Gurucharan and me at the center of our eyebrows. We saw the beautiful scene and felt gratified. His will is superb. His leelas are strange. When we started our journey, he said, a person with the essential traits of Vashishta will come as a priest for my samsthan. Sripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye.